Well, you know it, folks. There's a lot of water out there. It has to go somewhere. And tonight, the big headline of the flood of 2025, the Ohio River isn't finished yet. Set to reach its crest by tomorrow. Here we are with the Sky 11 drone again today. We're looking at what's left of the Great Lawn under all that water. It could have been the center stage for Thunder over Louisville this Saturday. Preparing for the crest, it's our top story at 5. Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. The rising Ohio proves problematic for folks north and south, east and west in Kentucky and Indiana. Our Ian Hardwitt and chief photojournalist Philip Merle join us now live from Louisville's waterfront, taking a look at the mess that's been made. Ian, what exactly can you see there?
Shay, I just saw a shift change for the Belle of Louisville. They had to do that on a boat, and here's why. The boardwalk here is completely covered in water. You can see where these street lights are totally drowning in the Ohio River. I mean, this is just a few feet shy of actually spilling over onto 64 going towards St. Louis. This is a problem on both sides of the river. If you want to take a look here at video we shot earlier in Clarksville, Indiana. This is at the Floyd and Clark County line. Silver Creek, that's backed up, slowly draining into the Ohio. This morning, it rose nearly 1 inch every hour, and it's still expected to rise another foot or so. There's a red roof out there that's hitting detail. Owner Nick Hinton gutted the shop last week, anticipating these floods.
Typically, I'll have, 2-3 hours to get out of here for flood. It was 20-30 minutes. And I was in boots and trying to grab ladders, afraid of getting shocked. And I mean, I'm over here risking my life for my business, I got tires floating around in my garage and things like that, so I gotta adapt and overcome.
And adapt he is. He's taking the business mobile and into customers' driveways while the building is underwater. Now Hinton there doesn't think he'll actually be able to get inside the shop until next week, and even if he does, he's likely going to be standing in the water when he gets through that door. Doug, Shay?
Well, Ian, you were talking to some businesses in southern Indiana who had their own interesting gauges on the water. What kind of marks were they using to see how fast it was coming up?
Yeah, on-site HVAC and plumbing, they're actually right next door to Hinton Detail. They were looking at one of the trucks out in their parking lot. They said they saw the hubcaps get covered up in about the 4-hour span that they were gone. They also put a block of wood out in the road just to see that get swallowed up by the river a few hours later. It's expected to start going down tomorrow. For now, and until then, I'm Ian Hardwitt for WHAS11 on your side.
All right, Ian, thank you very much for the update. Mayor Craig Greenberg continues to urge safety around the floodwaters, even after the rain came to an end. According to the mayor, the Ohio River was above 35 feet earlier today. It is still rising, as Ian just told you, and is expected to see another foot before cresting tomorrow afternoon. With this in mind, the mayor is asking the community not to put themselves in unnecessary danger, especially things like kayaking. He said that he actually saw that earlier today.
I know this is an interesting, extreme, historic event. But by doing things like that, you run the risk of getting stuck, which means our first responders will need to come rescue you, and you're putting our first responders at risk in addition to yourself.
This warning comes after Louisville Fire rescued 60 people at the Candlewood Suites on Zorn Avenue Monday afternoon. The mayor says this flooding will go down as one of the worst events in city history.
And today, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says the Commonwealth will be applying to the federal government for individual assistance. That means Kentucky families can apply with FEMA to get money to help them recover. But the governor and the emergency management director says that they need enough information from folks and evidence so that the president can then sign off on it. So there are steps that you need to take if your home has been impacted by the flooding.
As we're doing our initial assessments on those properties that are now starting to see the water recede, make sure if you're doing your own home that you're documenting that in case one of the local officials show up to get those pictures. You've got damages of the photos of the damage that occurred at your property. Make sure that we can properly document all the things that you've had to deal with over the last few days.
Kentucky flood relief donations are nearing $1 million for the most recent floods. Governor Andy Beshear says the first thing it'll go toward the funerals of the 5 victims who've died in floodwaters, including a 9-year-old boy who died in Frankfort. We want to check in with weather impact meteorologist Julie Martin now, looking ahead to this big crest coming up tomorrow. Julie?
Yes, Doug and Shay still have a ways to go, at least another day before a crest there along the Ohio River. We have another very cold night in store, but we were dry today, so that is a very nice thing, and we'll be dry for most of the day tomorrow as well. Right now we're looking at 48 degrees here at the airport, 46 in Bowman, light winds coming out of the north ushering in all of that dry air, and so that is keeping things relatively quiet here. But we do have another very cool morning. We got all the way down to 31 degrees this morning, well below average, and we had that freeze warning in effect. We have another freeze warning in effect for Wednesday morning as well. This goes until 9 o'clock local time. Everybody in purple here across Kentuckiana, you're really going to be feeling those cold, cold temperatures as you head out the door tomorrow. And of course, we have the ongoing river flood threat. That will be days before the rivers really do start to recede, at least below a moderate flood level. So taking a look here at the current flood levels right now, the Ohio River still in moderate flood stage. As you mentioned, it will be cresting tomorrow, both the upper and lower Ohio River in the Louisville area. And then the Rolling Fork River and the Salt River, those have already crested and they're starting to slowly recede. But again, it's going to take some time for that to happen. Taking a look here at our forecast for tonight, very chilly. You're going to want to bundle up if you are heading outdoors tonight, but we will stay dry with clear skies. Here's a look at the next 12 hours for you. Temperature is falling way back into the low 30s, right below freezing as you wake up tomorrow morning. Our high today, only 48. We should be in the mid-60s this time of year, so we're in for another chilly day tomorrow. And then late tomorrow into Thursday, a little bit of rain arrives. I'll detail the timing on that in your full forecast coming up.
All right, Julie, thank you. Authorities say 35 businesses suffered significant damage from that EF3 tornado that ripped through J-Town last week.
We're back in Jefferson Town today as the mayor and city council there approved a resolution to waive fees for repairs that will take months. Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton got a clear look at where that dangerous tornado first touched down. And Isaiah, had this hit occupied homes, we'd have a much different story in our hands today.
Doug, certainly. Potentially lives could have been lost, but thankfully in some cases it did hit empty warehouses, albeit one like this right here, which is basically where that tornado originated, where it dropped down 145-mile-per-hour winds, and EF3 did plenty of damage to this KEP electric warehouse, the one behind it as well. So a lot of damage here, but again, a miracle it didn't hit homes where people were living.
In Jefferson Town, the site of the first touchdown of the EF3 tornado in the middle of the night, potentially $1 million in losses for Steve Kitt's business.
We've got spalted maple right here. This is mahogany, you can see the tags on it. This is English brown oak.
Piles of wood sheets ruined and in the dumpster after getting drenched by rain.
So that's full of wood veneer that costs a lot of money and it's hard to replace. You know, we've spent 30 years building this inventory and we had it full of inventory back here.
JSO Wood Products,
just drenched.
A mess inside without a roof.
The whole lateral part of the structure just went like this.
Meteorologist John Gordon, the retired head of the National Weather Service Louisville and now a WHAS11 special contributor, describing the jaw-dropping wreckage you see from our Sky 11 drone.
There's tremendous damage, but no one died. It's amazing.
The powerful EF3 tornado, the kind Louisville hasn't seen since 1996, dropping right on the KEP electric warehouse, flattening it before ripping through Jefferson Town's industrial park.
It's a miracle there were no homes in that area. Miracle. If that had been in a subdivision, any subdivision in our area would not be good.
Meanwhile, a special meeting called at J-Town City Hall.
We need them and we need this park. And they are the reason that Jefferson Town exists today.
J-Town Mayor Carol Pike and council members learning from Louisville Metro authorities that 35 J-Town businesses suffered significant damage.
PVVA assessment value of those 38 entities is over $100 million.
130 J-Town businesses in all directly impacted by the EF3. The cleanup is massive, with debris blown by the tornado's powerful force. Business owners like Kitt's are looking at several months to rebuild what they've lost.
It's just hard to fathom. It's really hard to fathom when I pulled up here. My biggest fears were realized. I looked in here and I said, everything's gone. I knew that everything was gone.
And we want to make sure we're not downplaying. Obviously, no lives lost. That is the biggest thing. But millions of dollars in damages to businesses all across J-Town. This industrial area really, as Doug and Shay know, is lifeblood of this community here, of its economy. So we do understand Louisville Emergency Services has submitted a request for individual assistance up through the chain to FEMA, and they're waiting to hear back from them. Doug, Shay.
Isaiah, thank you. We'll continue to keep you updated with any changes that come with that damage, as well as the rising flood levels. Looking for the crest to get notifications straight to your cell phones. Download our free WHAS11 News app.
Right now, Metro Police are investigating after 3 people were found shot and killed in the Portland neighborhood. According to LMPD, that discovery came just before 5 this morning on Griffiths Avenue, right near Northside Christian Academy. When officers arrived on scene, they found 2 men and a woman inside a home suffering from gunshot wounds. First responders pronounced them dead shortly after. According to the Metro's gun violence dashboard, there have been 24 homicides so far this year, down nearly 40% compared to 2024. Despite the progress, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg said this shooting shows there is still more work to be done.
Then when you hear about a triple homicide and you think about the 3 individuals whose lives were lost, their families, friends, neighborhoods, the community that's been impacted, it just is a reminder that we still have a lot more work to do while we're seeing progress.
About this shooting is urged to report it to police at 574 LMPD.
More local news for you tonight. For the first time, we are learning just how much Jamie Knowles' historic mansion sold for recently. The nearly 8,000 square foot home on Turnberry Drive in Jeffersonville, Indiana, was purchased for $635,000. Knowles' home in Naples, Florida, is also now pending for sale. According to Collier County property records in the state of Florida, the Knowles paid $275,000 for the 2,000 square foot home in 2020. They were asking for $580,000.